I'm sure my favorite Bible stories all come from the New Testament, the Gospels, starting at the birth of Christ and His life, His miracles, His death and resurrection. I guess it's kind of tough for me to recall how my parents passed the faith on to me. My parents were very poor. They were what we today would call migrant farm workers. They didn't have much of an education. They probably, if they made it through 5th grade in grade school, that's as far as they went. Like I said, I don't remember, them sharing that particular many stories or things with me, but we did get to church, and I think that's where I probably learned my faith. I went to a Lutheran Christian day school, 1st grade, and I had a very important 1st grade teacher, and it's through him that I think developed my faith through his teaching and through the work of the Holy Spirit, and had a desire to become a Lutheran teacher. He was a gentleman probably in his 40s at the time he taught 1st grade. He was not the principal, but he shared teaching positions between San Antonio and Walberg, Texas, where I went to grade school. He taught 1st grade for me, and he also taught me in 4th grade until I moved away from that particular part of town. I was blessed to be able to go to college with one of his sons. In fact, his son was a roommate of mine for a while, and I had the joy of having him at my graduation when I graduated from college. I think it's probably more important to talk about how he was working in my life before college than during college. As I said before, we were a very poor family. I was used to working on other people's farms even before I started grade school. Told you about my teacher in grade school. When I was in 4th grade, we were blessed to be able to be sharecroppers and move from the Walberg area down to the Lee County area. I don't remember going to Sunday school when I was in Walberg. We lived quite a ways from the church. Lived on a back road that often became muddy and was hard to travel. So if we went to church, that was about it. No Sunday school. When we moved to Lee County, somehow we were blessed to be within several hundred yards from the school and the church. So I not only became active in the school, started attending church every Sunday, going to Sunday school, and later became very active in the youth group. When I confirmed and graduated from 8th grade elementary school, I was the first in my family to go to high school. I actually dropped out of high school in my sophomore year because my father was quite ill and had a lot of health issues, and we had crops that had to be reaped or picked during the fall season. So I dropped out of high school only to re-enroll about 2 weeks later. Continued through high school. Really didn't know what I was going to do after high school. Money was very, very scarce. I knew I wanted to go to college. Like I said, I'd become very active in my youth group. I was also active in a group known as Future Farmers of America. I actually earned a state degree as a future farmer, and I'm sure had the opportunity for a scholarship to Texas A&M. But my older brother, had joined the service, Army, and my father was still very much in need of help on the farm. Money was short, so we pretty well, or else I reached the decision that I would probably forego college. I applied for and got a job in the town, working in a furniture store, furniture and appliance store, and decided that I would take care of the farm on weekends and after work at the furniture store. And so it was. After I graduated, I started working at the furniture store, taking care of the farm, until probably the middle of August, when I was unloading a load of corn one night, and my father walked up and asked if I still wanted to go to college. And I said we had discussed that earlier and made the decision that I would forego college and take care of the farm. That's when he told me that he'd been thinking about it, and he really wanted me to reconsider, because one of the things his father had asked of him before he died was that he wished one of his sons or grandsons could become a minister. And I was basically the only one left in the group that had a chance of or wanted to go to college. So the next day I enrolled at Concordia University in Austin and worked my way through college, working at the university, going home on weekends to work the farm. The Lord further blessed me with a good friend at Concordia Austin that provided transportation for me when we went to Concordia Teachers College in River Forest, Illinois. If it wouldn't have been for him, I probably, would not have had the funds to continue college. While I was at River Forest, I continued working. I actually had 3 jobs at River Forest, driving a shuttle bus for students that lived off campus, working at a service station pumping gas, and being a security officer on campus in the evening. My health was very good, and somehow, with the Lord's blessing, I was able to graduate from Concordia River Forest with a teaching degree without any financial debt at that particular time. I think I felt God at work in my life through the successes that I had in school. I think I had fairly decent grades. I loved to read. I think I had some good friends, and they all encouraged me, I think, to continue to serve, that's why I became very active in the youth program, had the support of my friends and classmates. I think in high school, the ability to go for the Lone Star Farmer degree was important to me, and encouragement, because there hadn't been very many that had reached that status. So I think the encouragement of people, God using people to touch my life. While in college, I met the love of my life. She and I were in the same class together. She graduated a year ahead of me because I took off a year after my junior year to do what I called at that time supply teaching. It was designed to give you classroom experience, and I decided maybe I could actually make a little money to make it through my senior year. Needless to say, I didn't make any money doing supply teaching. But upon graduation, I received a call to teach grades 5 through 8, and serve as principal and youth director at a church in midwestern Kansas, a place called Lincoln. My wife, Donna, was also a teacher, and she taught grades 1 through 4, while I taught grades 5 through 8 in a little country school with about 50 students. We thoroughly enjoyed teaching. It was amazing, though. Our salary was about $300 a month. We probably would not have made it on that amount of salary if it wouldn't have been for the wonderful people of that particular community. I'll never forget when we were installed and introduced to the congregation with a reception. They gave us an envelope with a key in it and some directions. The next morning we took that key, followed the directions, and found out that it was to a meat locker. In the meat locker we had a small locker and an area where frozen meats were put. And from the time that we came until the time that we left that particular community, that meat locker was never empty. People would butcher hogs, calves, chickens, and whenever they did, they always put something into our locker. So again, people touching our lives with service, kindness, appreciation, thanksgiving. Our children, our first child was born in Kansas, where we served out there. It's amazing that we had no insurance at that particular time. We went to a hospital in Ellsworth, Kansas, where Donna went into labor on a very early Sunday morning. We thought that we would have a baby on the Sunday before Labor Day. Didn't so happen. She was in labor for something like 28 to 30 hours, and our first baby was born on Labor Day at about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. God was so good to us that Donna stayed in that hospital about a week. And I think, if I remember correctly, our hospital bill was $150. We were blessed to be able to, of course, get Amy baptized, and we were able to not only care for her, but she was blessed to have Donna as a mother. She shared her faith with her. Her grandparents shared faith. Her aunts shared their faith. So it was just a beautiful situation. Two of our daughters were born in Michigan, where we had taken a call and were teaching at a Lutheran school there. They were baptized again within a couple of weeks after their birth. Received the gift of faith through the promise and blessing of the Holy Spirit. We were able not only to share Christ with them in the home through the Sunday school, but as they got old enough to go to preschool, kindergarten, and grade school, they did. And the end result was, being confirmed and deciding that what they really wanted to do was to do the things that their parents did. They wanted to become Lutheran educators. And so all four of them, we have four daughters, all four of them have either been teaching or teaching at the present time. In fact, two of them are teaching right here at Prince of Peace in Carrollton. I don't know if there's a time in my life where I actually, became aggressive toward God. There were times when I wondered what was going on. We were working and serving in Michigan. I was teaching a classroom with 36 students. I was serving as a youth director for the congregation, and no matter how hard I worked, it looked like we couldn't get ahead financially. The money just seemed to disappear. But then, without any prompting on my part, came the time when I received a letter in the mail and just had enough money in it for the expenses that we needed at that particular time. Probably recently, about 15 years ago, my oldest daughter, Amy, was diagnosed with cancer and had to have a breast cancer removal, and kind of caught us by surprise, wondering, why, when she's just 40 years old, in the prime of her life, teaching, serving. Why have cancer that you have to deal with? As those 15 years have passed, there have been times when we keep asking, why? Why, Lord? Why can't she be healed completely? Why doesn't she receive some of the joy and satisfaction from teaching that, really could and should be hers? Why? I guess for all of my children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, whatever the case happens to be, want them to know that we live in a world which was created by an awesome, wonderful God who created us, who chose us, who gifted us, who blessed us with the gift of faith through our baptism, hopefully through your baptism, and wants you to know that He will love you at all times. He will never forsake you. He will continue to bless you with His Spirit. You may reject Him, you may rebel against Him, but His love for you will never fail. And so my prayer to you is that you would recognize Him, get to know Him, realize the gifts that He has given you, develop those gifts to the fullest, and give your every ounce of strength, not only to use those gifts for your benefit, but above all, to use them to bless others and truly enjoy a great life.